Something like that. So let me ask you a couple questions, Pop. When were you born?
February 15th, 1925.
1925. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
There was 11 of us in the family. However, one only lived to be about, I think, 18 months.
Yeah?
And the others, I have three brothers older than me.
Yeah.
And one brother younger than me.
Yeah.
I don't have them anymore, they're all gone.
Yeah.
Sisters, I had one sister younger than me, and I had four sisters older than me.
Yeah.
So we were quite a big family.
Yeah, that's quite a big family.
It was 11 altogether, but 10 actually grew up.
Survived. Yeah, survived. What happened to the one that passed away at 18 months?
Pardon?
What happened to the one that passed away at 18 months?
What happened?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was pneumonia.
Pneumonia?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because back then, pneumonia was pretty dangerous,
Yeah.
and they didn't really see doctors. You didn't go see a doctor, the doctor came to you.
Mm-hmm.
Of the 11 children born in our family, they were all born at home.
Okay.
Because we lived on the farm, and if you needed a doctor, the doctor would have to come to you.
Mm-hmm.
They had hospitals, I'm sure, but they were a distance away, and they had doctors that would come to you rather than you going to them.
Yeah.
And that's what I was told, that it was pneumonia, and at that time, it was a pretty dangerous thing.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, one brother was in what they call the Ccc Camp.
Okay.
When they got up to be about 17, 18, it was a Great Depression about that time in the 30s.
Yeah.
And the government was making these programs in order to help people.
Mm.
And this one brother, he was a twin. I had twin brothers.
Okay.
So, and he went into what they call the Ccc Camp, the Civilian Conservation Corps. And what they did was get together as a group and they worked in parks, they built cabins around lakes and things for government. And they did it just to help out the people. It was a government program. And I think they paid them, if I'm not mistaken, it was $18 a month that they paid them for that. And my brother wanted to do that, and he did. And he was in there when World War II broke out. So they went straight in from there, from that group, they went right into the service. In fact, my brother, they told him that he had to go into the service right away. They didn't even give him time to come home. And my mother said, well, where can we meet him? And they told her someplace around Florence, South Carolina. That's where we grew up. And she went there, I think it was to either maybe Columbia. Well, when they got there, the mother and father got there to see him, he was already gone.
Wow.
They shipped him over into what they call the European theater, where they were fighting the Germans. Okay, then they were bringing in all these other teenage boys. So his brother, Sam, was pulled into the service. Then my older brother, James, was also taken into service. So I had 3 brothers and 1 sister. A sister that wanted to join what they call the WACS, W-A-C-S, the Women's Auxiliary Corps. So she wanted to help out in that way, and that they didn't go into combat, but they did jobs here that the male soldiers, the males, so they could go overseas. And that's where she met her future husband,
Okay.
Felix Poniatowski. He was from Connecticut, and so when when the war was over, she went to live up in Connecticut, and with her husband. And the war was over in 45. They went in and it started in 41, and they were in until it was over in 45. Of course, my other twin brother, James, that was Williams. William was the one that was killed over in fighting in the European area.
Okay.
The invasion of France. See, Hitler took over France during the war, and so we were when they started sinking our submarines, and their submarines were sinking our ships.
Yeah.
We declared war on them. Of course, Japan had already started fighting us.
Right.
They attacked us. We were fighting them in the Pacific. Well, my brother, my other twin brother, went in to fight them, the Japanese. So I had one twin brother was in the European theater, and one was in the fighting the Japanese up in the Asian theater. And then my oldest brother, James, he went into the European theater also. So I had 2 brothers over there and one in the Japanese area. So, and then my sister was here, okay? The war it started in 41, end of 41, of course, December 41. I graduated from high school in 42. It was about June of 42. My younger brother, Thurman, who was a couple years younger than me, we decided to visit another sister of mine that was working up in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, at a printing place. So when I graduated, my brother and I decided we were to take a trip up to Pennsylvania, to Philadelphia. Okay, so we got on a train and went to Philadelphia, and my sister met us at the train station in Philadelphia. And we stayed in a hotel there and visited my sister where she worked. And okay, we stayed there a few days, and time come back. I knew that if I came back to the farm, it's a tobacco and cotton farm, and I wanted a better education. I wanted to be trained in something. So anyway, when it time to leave Philadelphia, Thurman said he wanted to come back. I said, well, I'm going to stay a while. So I got a job at a hospital dairy farm. It's called the Friends Hospital Dairy Farm. And what they did was the farm made milk, vegetables, and things of this sort for the hospital. Okay, the hospital was taking care of all these veterans coming, injured soldiers coming back. So my job was to run milkers to milk, I think it was about 105 cows, twice a day, 7 days a week. Okay, I worked there. I got the job in '42. Okay, I was 17 at that time. When I worked at the farm there, and I was going to school at night at a place called Television Training Institute, TTI. Okay, they were thinking about televisions coming out at that time. And that was about, see, I was going to school there, and it was about 43, I guess, 43, 44. And I was working, I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to milk these cows. And then at night, I would go to school to study electronics. Well, we built a television, 7 inches. It's about that square.
Yeah.
And there was no stations, except there was at night they broadcast news for maybe a couple hours. But they had a test pattern that they set out for the people that was working on televisions and things. We use that test pattern in order to build our television set and test it out. Okay, at about, I finished up that in about 44. The war was still going on. But I had turned 18 in 43, so I had to register for the draft. That's what they call the draft. You had to, if you were 18, you had to register. All men did. I registered, and in 44, okay, I immediately got a notice to report for duty. And the boss came to me and said, "Do you want to go?" I was 18 at that time. And I said, "Well, doesn't matter to me. At 18, didn't bother me that much about it." But it was about the time that my brother in Europe was killed. I think it was around 44. And I was talking with my mother, and she knew I had been called, and I put it to her. I said, "What do you think?" And she said, "Well, if you could possibly stay out, and I have 4 in service already, if you could possibly stay out, I would appreciate it if you did your best to do that." Well, the boss came to me and said, "Do you want to go?" I said, "Well, doesn't make much difference." He said, "Well, I don't have anyone to replace you." And he said, "We're supplying food and milk and things to this hospital." He said, "I think you're doing your duty, because I have to have somebody. I don't have anybody that is doing the job that you're doing." So I said, "Okay, it's up to you." I said, "You do what you can." And he said, you just hold on to things. I had almost packed up my things ready to go. He came back in a day or two and said, "Hold everything." Said, "I've gotten you off." So that's why I didn't, that was in 44. Then the war ended, of course, in 45. And at that time, I was courting Catherine. Catherine worked at the same place my sister worked. And
is that how you met her? That's how you met Catherine?
Yes, I met Catherine. So when in television